Welcome, 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 ladies and gents. It's time for Game 2 of the fourth place match between DIMAGA from Team MTW and Taurent, who I don't know what his current affiliation is. But we do see that Taurent is currently down 0-1 after a very convincing Roach Burrow play by DIMAGA. The speedlings that DIMAGA got into Taurent's base at the start did amazing damage while the Roaches defend, and there just wasn't any way that Taurent could come back from that position. But it is a best of 5. Whoever wins will get $500 put up, of course, by DreamHost. So Taurent's not out of the running yet. DIMAGA is still very comfortable after winning that first match. Going into Game 2, Taurent begins by sending his probes to not minerals, but to right next to minerals. And even though we normally like to say that cross-map positions are oh-so Zerg favored because Zerg has plenty of time to defend and to respond to the army moving across the map, Protosses aren't going to be too disappointed given the map is Lost Temple. We have MTW's DIMAGA in the south as the red Zerg. We have Taurent in the north as the orange Protoss pieces. The reasons Protoss like this quite a bit is that this entrance is fairly small. It's easy to defend your natural expansion and your choke at the same time. And you can get your third base as a gold pretty easily. So Protosses can get to 3 bases in a reasonable fashion. Just have to make sure they can temper that Zerg aggression at the outset. We do see that first scouting probe heading out right now for Dr. Taurent. MTW DIMAGA has his Overlord moving to the left as well. They are going to meet up. Let's see if he ends up spotting it. That can always be a little bit helpful. No, it doesn't look like any little cross-spotting occurred. But DIMAGA, of course, will send that Overlord right to this peak to overlook the edge. Pylon already going down for Taurent at his natural expansion. This could either signal some sort of fast gateway pressure, but we just haven't seen a lot of 1 or 2 gate early pressure from Protosses in quite some time. Protosses have instead been favoring faster expansions. So likely to be a Forge or a Nexus first even. DIMAGA looks like he is very much so interested in going for the hatch first play. Let's see if the probe spots it. Woo! DIMAGA getting the probe out of the picture. Probe now pulling back for DIMAGA. And he easily throws down the hatchery. He's so freaking happy. And you know, Taurent, again, doesn't mind this as much. He will throw down his own Nexus on... He will throw down his own Forge on 16. And there's a pylon getting thrown down right now. And did DIMAGA see it? He does. He knows exactly what's coming. There's a spawning pool going up for DIMAGA. This means it is going to be drones versus cannons. Cannons have a lot of life in this game, 150, 150, so it can be very difficult to pick them off if you are not careful. Though players do love that early expand style, it is sometimes fun to save at 450, and to hell with the Nexus. 3 cannons, here I come. We do see that these drones have managed to pick off that pylon for now. And if you think about it, 5 drones not mining for about 30 seconds could cost more than 100. So Taurent is pretty pleased that he was able to do that big distraction. We see that extra pylon going down. No doubt a gateway being thrown down here or perhaps hither, and a cannon thither. There's that probe continuing to poke around. Wants to keep tabs on when that pool finishes, and in particular, when these 2 geysers finished. When gas geysers get constructed are the biggest signifier of what tech or plan is to come for the opponent. We see no gas yet for Taurent. Now that his second pylon is done, he can go back to chrono boosting again. If you chrono boost non-stop while going for a Nexus early, you end up getting supply blocked after your first pylon. So a lot of Protoss players now just save up the chrono boost and then return to it in a bit. There's the cannon going down for Taurent. Does need to be a little careful because this is kind of wide. There's kind of a big space here. Didn't really have the tightest wall off he could have. Could have built this pylon, say, here and the Forge over one spot, but with this amount of space, Zerglings and Roaches are going to have a little bit more leeway there. Assimilator now finishing up. Looks like he's building another pylon. Expo finishing. In camp, DIMAGA. Does he have a gas geyser yet? No. Amazingly enough, absolutely no gas geyser. And not even another queen. What is he going to be doing? Oh, DIMAGA, you sneaky little guy. Oh, what a sly raccoon he is. Throwing down his hatch at that left expansion. Very, very weird play. Very, very uncommon. Nothing but drones coming out for DIMAGA. I'm curious to see how he's actually going to be able to defend this left expansion. He could creep his way up here and throw down spine crawlers, but generally if you want to be defending a choke, you take this base first. Moving around, we do see DIMAGA has not gotten a second queen yet. DIMAGA getting another hatch. DIMAGA Oh, you're so cool. We never see Zerg players play in this particular fashion. Why get another hatchery when you could instead get another queen? Well, it's about momentum. If you can get 3 hatches running and 1 queen, feels about the same as 2 hatches with 2 queens. But you can get an extra queen for your 3rd and 2nd hatch so quickly that suddenly your economy and your production is ramped up really, 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 really hard. Very, very cool. Again, if you want to get to 3 hatches with 3 queens, sometimes it can be better to build the 3 hatches first and then get the queens later, because queens build a lot more quickly than hatches. So you can get that spike in momentum up so fast. There we see the Zerglings trying to chase the probe down. Will the probe see it? And it does see it. Oh, man. I am blown away that DIMAGA's playing this way. There's a Zergling speed coming up right now. Forge upgrading Taurent. Almost certainly going to be favoring his 6 Warp Gate play on this particular spot. There's really no reason not to. I mean, he knows his opponent is doing something expand-oriented, no tech coming up. Here are some Zealots arriving, but we do see a lot of Zerglings popping out right now for DIMAGA. They're finally arriving, and again, faster units punish mistake. Big mistake for Taurent to think that he could barge in with 2 Zealots. That is 2 free kills for DIMAGA, and look at DIMAGA not even paying attention to it. Layer now going down at the expansion. We do have these gas geysers up and running. The 3rd hatch is done. The 4th hatch of the expansion is up with a queen there. Crazy play by DIMAGA. I cannot wait to see how he deals with this upcoming 6 Warp Gate push. We do see a Twilight Council coming up. Could be a very fast Blink Stalker play. Very common on this map with all the cliffs, and it looks like, whoopsie daisies, didn't quite pick off that 2nd Zealot. But there is the +1 ground armor. Ooh, could Taurent be going for a very fast +2 attack, +1 armor push? We don't know quite yet. But what we do know is that DIMAGA is crazy. You are crazy, DIMAGA. DIMAGA somewhere is smiling with his enormous biceps and his just beautiful crest white teeth. There's DIMAGA now, slowly adding on some more droners. Getting this 3rd base up quickly means he gets 6 geysers up quickly. So it does look like he's going to be going for a Spire play. There's the Spire coming out right now. He has a lot of Zerglings with speed. DIMAGA has no clue what's going on right now. Everyone's just crying, weeping bitterly. Does look like this is done, and yes, it is going to be a Blink Stalker play. There's all the Warp Gates finishing up for Taurent. He now can begin churning out those at an accelerated pace. It looks like DIMAGA's going to have to go mass ling, and he is happy about that because, hey, he has 4 hatcheries and 3 queens up really fast. We're not even at the 10-minute mark. What cool play. Looks like Taurent is going to be moving over to this left expansion. But with these speedy Zerglings, DIMAGA knows everything that's going on. He is getting a lot of lings out right now. He's trying to gear up. Will he end up going for the defense, or will he go for the counterattack? A lot of Zerglings out right now. Picks off 1 Stalker. Here are the Blink Stalkers making their way forward. Looks like the Zerglings are there to distract, and here comes a huge swell of Zerglings. Taurent is going to have to back off. There are just not nearly enough lings to be able to pick, or excuse me, not nearly enough Stalkers to be able to counter that amount of lings. But here comes more from DIMAGA. We see the Spire is getting very close to done, and look at the gas count, 1,600. He's going to get an amazing amount of those. And uh-oh, he just spent Blink. He is going to get surrounded. Will he lose any more? He does lose 1 or 2. Those, no, barely get Blunk out in time. There's the fast +2. Taurent's starting to realize he needs some Zealots in that mix if he wants to be able to cope as well. Excuse me. Meanwhile, DIMAGA beginning to add on those Mutalisks. Is he getting any ups for them? No, not quite yet. But looking around, DIMAGA just with brilliant timing on that very fast 3-base play. Super cool to see in action. 2 Spine Crawlers going down for DIMAGA. Taurent gearing up for the Giga push again. Ling count not nearly as high. Looks like there are 31 Lings out on the field, but not that many Stalkers. We see the Zerglings. Ooh, gotta be careful about those. They do not have the upgrades, so they will get burned alive by those Zealots. We do see some more Mutalisks coming out. 11 Mutalisks in production, and we see the 11 Mutalisks already out. There's the forward pylon. DIMAGA just trying to buy as much time as possible with those Zerglings, but is he losing too many? We do see the 2 Spine Crawlers finishing, and Taurent, oh no, mistakenly goes directly for them. If he loses these Stalkers, that will end this push. We see the Zerglings just going to try to swing around. Reinforce there. He wants to pick off the Stalkers because then the Zealots are free pickings. Taurent, warp in units. You have thousands of minerals, and he only is able to warp in 2 at this point. He needs to get more units into the fray, and wow, looks like Taurent is able to break through. Now he's getting more Stalkers out. Can he continue producing? No, he is maxed out on those warp gates right now, but the Zealots with their +1/+1 upgrades are doing quite well. But my god, DIMAGA with that early 6 gas, just has so many Mutalisks. Taurent doing his best to rip this expansion apart, try to keep it battered into the ground as long as possible, but he needs to watch all of these Zealots. If he can pick off as many drones as possible, maybe even that hatch, he could get himself back in this game, but DIMAGA geniusly taking the opposite expo. If he can get a lot of wide spread out expansions, he's going to be in great shape. Taurent now having to do a little bit of self-pillaging, take out his own pylon so that way he can get his units out of his base. Taurent, wow, actually going for Stargates for a lot of Phoenixes. We just saw 16 drones get produced by DIMAGA. He is sending them out. Looks like he is going to just get this up and running immediately, and here comes the real danger. When you have that many Mutalisks, 24 Mutalisks out on the field, there is just not that much that you can do about it. Look at this. DIMAGA not even running from Taurent, just darting right in, accepting that he can easily 1A his way in for the win, and it looks like Taurent has 2 cannons back. One's going to fall very quickly. There is an observer popping out to deal with some of that cliff mechanic, to deal with the fact that he cannot quite see the Mutalisk in some circumstances. There is a little bit more Blink Micro. It'll help him pick off 1 Mutalisk, but will it be enough? In the meantime, more Mutalisks popping out for DIMAGA. We see them heading over to the expansion as well, but this is the real point of action. Taurent trying to defend, trying to get a Phoenix out. There's 1 Phoenix out. It gets 2, 3 shots off, but now it is going to have to be on the run. Only about 5 shots off from that Phoenix, and it looks like DIMAGA's originally 24 count is down to 14. He will be forced to retreat eventually, but he just refuses to give up. It looks like, oh no, there's another whole slew of Mutalisks out on the field, just reinforcing with those Zerglings now darting towards the front. In production, we see drones and mutas being made by DIMAGA, doing the Mutaling play on Temple oh so well. Pylon is going to get taken down to 42, and now it's out. Just Phoenix is going to be able to defend with only these 3 Warp Gates powered, a few Zealots at the front of the screen. But that Phoenix just evaporates immediately. It's the slow death for Taurent. He's trying to hang on. That Phoenix gets mauled. And there's the good game DIMAGA, who ended up getting 3-1'd by White Ra. Now looking very, very strong. Currently, DIMAGA is just 1 win away from that $500 third place prize, whereas Taurent needs to win 3 in a row now. Very uncomfortable spot to be in, especially considering Taurent did lose the game on Lost Temple. That's a map that a lot of Protosses are convinced that they will be able to take a win on. So let's go on to Game 3 to see if DIMAGA can close it out with a clean 3-0, or if Taurent can pull the reverse all kill. See ya in a sec.